Kenya show. My name is Peter Okabandio, just in time for an incisive look at matters making headlines in the field of agriculture, agribusiness, and of course news that will put money into your pocket, giving you news that you can use. Again, hello and welcome. This is your trusted source for all things agriculture today as we dive into a thriving yet overlooked sector, and that is pig farming. Today, of course, whether you're an aspiring farmer already in the business, this is a conversation that you will not afford to miss, especially because we will have with us in studio Ian Otuona, who is an expert in pig farming. He's here to guide us through the ins and outs of this lucrative venture. For most people, you most likely have seen in your neighborhood a pork center, a piggery. Of course, you must have interacted with the product itself, from sausages to bacon to pork chops to all different cuts of delicious pork. That is what we want to talk about here today. From best practice to common pitfalls, we'll explore everything that you need to know to make pig farming a success. That, of course, over the next 1 hour. In the meantime, let's take a quick look at matters that are making news in the agriculture sector in our Agri-News segment. Let's start off in the climate space, where the government has announced plans to roll out a campaign across a climate works program modeled on the successful Kazi Mtaani initiative. That's in a bid to create sustainable jobs for the youth in the country. Now, speaking in Turkana County, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki assured residents that the program will be implemented across all 47 counties. Ramura has those details.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki reiterated the government's commitment to empowering youth in the country. Among the key promises he made during his visit to Turkana County was the revival of the Kazi Mtaani program under a new framework dubbed Climate Works.
Hapa Kenya kuna ile program mesema turudishe, na tumeshaanza kurudisha. It's only that tulianza na Nairobi County, tulianza na ile inaitwa Climate Works ya kusafisha Nairobi River. We have employed 20,000 young people, and we are going to restore and expand.
Speaking when he attended a Thanksgiving service organized by the clergy at Moi Gardens, Lodwar, Kindiki highlighted the government's broader pledge to ensure equity in employment. He announced that the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection will soon visit Turkana County to educate the youths on how to apply for international job opportunities.
Tumeweka pia employment kwa jeshi, na hata ile ya polisi ilikuwa imedelay kidogo. Mwezi wa 3 we'll be hiring about 5,000 police officers. We are also creating jobs abroad. Kuna wale vijana ambao wamesoma wangetaka kwenda ng'ambo.
Kindiki further pledged to address leadership concerns in the county, promising to follow up on employment opportunities with former leaders from the region, including former Senate Speaker Ekwe Ethuro, former Cabinet Secretary John Munyes, and former Turkana Central Member of Parliament John Lodepe. In addition, Kindiki commended security agencies for their efforts in addressing insecurity in Turkana.
Hii county imehifadhi wageni ambao walifurushwa nyumbani kwao mataifa mbalimbali, wakakimbilia Kenya kutoka mataifa zaidi ya 45. Na hao wageni wameishi hapa zaidi ya miaka 30. Na watu ya Turkana ndio wamekuwa wenyeji wa hao watu.
Vera Mora, KTN.
Quite a jig right there. Now, moving on to the environment, where environmentalist Green Thinking Action Party leader Dr. Kalowa Green has called on government to impose an immediate moratorium on the export of raw timber, warning that it is accelerating deforestation and environmental degradation. Now, this alarming trend threatens President William Ruto's ambitious goal of planting about 15 billion trees by the year 2032, as a cartel allegedly involved in illegal logging, particularly of eucalyptus trees, is undermining his efforts. Marion Baraza has more.
Kenya faces a looming forestry crisis if urgent action is not taken to safeguard the country's forest cover. The Green Thinking Action Party has raised the alarm over the rapid depletion of forests. Dr. Isaac Kalua Green claims that over 6 million trees have been cut in the last 7 months, primarily for export.
More than 6 million eucalyptus trees, and when I talk about trees, you can imagine it's not just one type of tree. This is just what has been exposed, which is the lifeblood for our industries and communities. These have been harvested and lost.
He has highlighted on unchecked logging practices, deceptive timber exports marketed as raw materials for medicine and perfume, and economic sabotage through the illegal export of raw materials in violation of national laws.
What remains is a landscape scarred by unchecked deforestation, a looming economic collapse for local communities, and the silent cries of biodiversity lost forever.
Dr. Kalua, a vocal advocate for President Ruto's Forest Restoration Initiative, has warned that a clique of selfish individuals driven by greed is actively working against the country's restoration goals. He cautioned that these actions not only undermine environmental conservation, but also sabotage the broader national agenda.
You hear roads that are being created, or expansion of roads in a forest like Karura Forest. And people with their good minds can think of excising 51 acres. Tomorrow it will be 150 acres. It is a multifaceted challenge, driven by weak regulations on one side, deeply hidden agendas, and of course, the misuse of international trade systems.
Environmentalists are now urging the government to recalibrate its strategy, clamp down on illegal logging activities, and focus on preserving the nation's forest to avoid further degradation. Reporting for KTN, Marion Barasa.
Interesting story right there around deforestation. Now, over to a totally different story, this time in the western part of the country, where fishing is a skill that has been handed down through generations among fishing communities along the shores of Lake Victoria. In recent years, however, several challenges have emerged, including climate change and overfishing, making it difficult for those risking their lives in the turbulent waters of the lake to earn a living. Bramwell Bure has that story around Dunga Beach and now brings us these reports.
In the fading light of dusk, there is a deep sense of loss at the shores of Lake Victoria. The once thriving fishing villages where boats set out every morning to harvest the abundant dagar now sits in a quiet reflection. The dagar, tiny silvery fish that once steamed in the waters, has dwindled drastically. The fishermen who once relied on the lake have found themselves struggling with the species they depended on fast disappearing. We find Dr. K, an experienced fisherman in his late 40s, sitting at the edge of a dock, staring out at the vast waters of Lake Victoria.
So one of the things that we will request the government to do is just to protect the breeding places of omena. And number two, those who are still destroying or they are polluting water, to reduce the rate that they are doing to spoil the water.
Nearby is a group of women whose main business is selling dagar from the lake. They have all seen the change, the catch getting smaller every year. Some days they will go home with little to show for their efforts.
Kitambo mena ilikuwa mingi, lakini kwa sahi hata hiyo mena yenye tuko nao sahi tunatoa tu nje upande wa huko Siaya. ndio penye hiyo omena yetu sasa inatokea. Hata saa hizi umeona kama pikipiki zimeleta omena, zimebeba omena. Hizo ndio omena inapata. Hapa kwetu hakuna omena.
For generation, the young people living along the lake had too witnessed the decline, but they felt powerless in the face of such an enormous problem. That was until a group of friends, all from different parts of the lake shoreline, decided they will take action. They formed a youth-led initiative with one simple mission: to restore Lake Victoria and bring back the dagaa.
What we are doing is we are doing it for our children, and they have to see what we are doing so that in the next future, either the lake will be more cleaner than the way it is. They will take the responsibility of making sure the lake is clean and saving the lake from plastic and all waste pollution.
Omena, which is dagaa fish, is going extinct. So we are requesting the community to take care of their waste at home, and also to know that omena is a very delicious meal. They should eat it, and we should go back to our culture of eating omena.
It is key to prioritize the well-being of this lake. While we implement development projects, let's look at the sustainability. Let's look at the well-being of the lake and the people who live around this lake. It is high time we had policies around the protection and the restoration of Lake Victoria, the protection of its riparian landfills, and the protection of the culture of the people who live around the lake, including the protection of omena as a staple food.
Although fishing contributes significantly to the country's GDP, the figure could double if the war on climate change and pollution of the lake is dealt with. Bramwell Bire, KTN, Kisumu.
Well, not many people realize that Lake Victoria actually had a local name, and that it was known as Namlolwe before, of course, the people came along and gave it a different name. But food for thought and a story for a different day. On to fertilizer now, where maize farmers from the Western Kenya region have appealed to government to refund the money that was used to procure the subsidized fertilizer that was declared to be fake during the last planting season. Speaking during a soil testing contest at Kakamega County, the farmers observed that the funds would assist them purchase new fertilizer for the next planting season. The conference brought together maize farmers from the region to sensitize them on soil fertility. Well, let's move on to Farm Guide now and essentially look at on today's Farm Guide segment. We're in Kiambu County to meet Patricia Njeri and Marco Awero. These are a dynamic couple who ventured into pig farming back in 2016. They'll set the stage for us because over the years they've turned their passion for pigs into a thriving agribusiness. From managing breeding cycles to navigating market challenges, the journey is a testament to resilience and innovation in this type of farming. Let's dive into this story and learn the secrets behind their success.
What kind of meat excites and tingles your taste buds? Is it smoky beef nyama choma, tender crisp chicken, or elusive yummy pork? For many people, chicken and beef may take the #1 spot. However, in a few years, things will change drastically. Pork is becoming a favorite amongst most people, including Kenyans. As of today, pork accounts for at least 38% of the world's meat production. That's only 12% to commanding half of the world's meat consumption. The pork industry is also a favorite to many farmers like Patricia Njeri and her husband Mark, based in Kiambu town. In this town, just 13 kilometers west of central Nairobi, lies a mixture of urban and semi-urban lifestyles. This diversity is the perfect mix for this couple's business.
This farm started in the year 2016, late mid 2016 there, and we started out with 2 pigs. There are 2 sows, 2 pregnant sows. What inspired me to start pig farming was mostly because as a child I'd grown up doing cows and cow farming, and for me it was quite intense and it required a lot of effort. And then I've been thinking that cows or cattle farming requires a lot of effort, a lot of resources, which I didn't have. So it was easier for me to jump into pig farming, which did not demand a lot of my attention on the farm, because I just had to put somewhere there, put up the structures, and there we are.
I've liked pigs because all the way in also where I come from Eldoret. That's my home ground. We have been doing pigs during my father's tenure, and we inherited. And I've come to like pigs because of all the animals. Pigs are the easiest to manage. Like, you're not tied up, you can do an extra business when you still have the pigs.
Pigs can be reared by both small and large-scale farmers. Whether a farmer wants to provide quality and delicious food for his or her family, or as a commercial venture, pig farming is the way to go. The rapid changes in the pig industry have also opened up more opportunities and changed how farmers like Patricia rear pigs.
By the time we started, we were just novices because we didn't know much. I had researched on YouTube, I had visited farmers, I had collected a lot of materials for pig farming related. But between the theory and the actual pig farming, it's a world of difference. Because you come to find, like now I had one farmer, one of the workers we took him to a farm so that he could learn how to do it. But while he was here, we faced some challenges because some of the neighbors would come and buy feed from us. So that actually, at the beginning, that was actually a challenge. In terms of even feeding, sometimes I got the wrong advice from other farmers on what to feed the pigs. And then water. Pigs require a lot of water. So at that time, those are not things I actually knew.
The journey of 1,000 steps begins with one. This saying is equally true when it comes to pig production. Patricia believes that a farmer should select a breed based on the output she expects from his or her agribusiness venture. In Kenya, there are 5 main types of pig breeds. They include Landrace, Large White, Duroc, Hampshire, and Meishan. Each of these breeds has its own advantage and disadvantage. The first breed, Landrace, gains weight quickly in comparison to other breeds, has great mothering ability and weaning ability, and can be used for bacon production. The only disadvantage is that the purebred Landrace have weakened tanks and also tend to wiggle on their rear part due to weak hind limbs. The second breed, Large White, is a prolific breed. It is late maturing with good mothering ability and can be used for pork and bacon production. The third breed, Hampshire, is also a prolific breed. It is good for bacon production and has a high litter size of 9 with a high weaning rate. The fourth breed, Duroc, is one of the best when it comes to crossbreeding with other breeds. It grows the fastest and has a high weaning rate. The only drawback of this breed is its poor mothering ability. The fifth breed, Meishan, if well fed and managed, is able to consume large amounts of roughage. They are known to be an extremely docile and sedentary breed. They are thought to have a lower environmental impact on pastures as compared to other heritage and commercial breeds of pigs. Meishan pigs are a true grazing hog. Adult Meishans do not squeal or scream unless in heat. They're incredibly sedentary pigs that sleep most of the day. Patricia and Mark chose to settle for the Large White and Landrace due to their prolific features.
The breeds that we have here is Large White and Landless. You have to crossbreed them because they are good mothers. And then we have for the last 2 years we have been doing AI with a breed of Max Grow. Max Grow is another one from a new breed brought by Farmer's Choice. It's a terminal animal, which is only for meat. It's not for reproduction. Those two are the ones that are doing very well. So even if you have females that are being produced by the Max Grow, you cannot serve them because they are not good mothers. They cannot litter well, and they cannot bring up the litter, the piglets.
Pigs are very strong and need sturdy living quarters with proper air circulation and shade. Generally, adult pigs are very sensitive to hot temperature, and the piglets are affected adversely by cold temperature. Controlled temperature, therefore, helps to maximize growth and production. is also important to keep the piglets with their mother in a separate house. As a farmer, separating the feeding and bedding place by keeping the house neat and clean always are just but a few farm practices that can be practiced. Mark has ensured that he has a day-to-day routine that he practices in his farm, ranging from the housing of pigs to its general maintenance.
Usually in the morning, you do cleaning the house. Depends very early in the morning at around between 6 to 7. And then you clean the water troughs. And at around between 8 to 9, you feed them. And then maybe at around 4, you feed them twice a day. A mature pig usually feed 3.5 kilos. You give them 1.5 in the morning, 1.5 in the evening. But the small ones, you give them as they grow, because from day 1 up to day 7, somehow they rely on their mothers. But from day 7, they can start picking small. So the one that has given birth, you give, depending on the animal, the piglets, and the litter it has given, you add 50 grams of feeds as they grow up. But at 2 weeks, they start feeding the mother. And then we wean between 35 to 40 days. Then after weaning, 40 days, 5 days after weaning, we serve the mother. It will be on heat after 5 days. So usually pigs give birth twice a year. It can do thrice, but at least to be healthy and not to stress it, you do twice. A good one give a maximum of, there's one which in fact we were surprised to give birth to 18. And it had not enough teeth to feed, so we had to merge with the other one that gave birth the same duration. 10 and above, it's a good mother. And also make sure that it's able to feed those piglets well.
According to the weather conditions in Kenya, pig farming has many advantages. The benefits of pig farming in Kenya include little capital investment and quicker returns. As pigs grow very fast, a farmer can turn their farm into a commercial stage within a short time. Huge market demands for pigs and pig products. Faster growth and reproduction in comparison to other livestock animals. Pigs can feed on almost everything, including roughage, kitchen garbage, and agricultural waste for reducing feeding costs. Great source of employment for unemployed people and as a side hustle. When feeding pigs, it is important to consider the nutritional requirements, as there is no such thing as a standard diet. The nutritional requirements are often simplified and described as a requirement for energy and protein. More specifically, the protein requirement is described as lysine requirement. Lysine is an important amino acid that indicates the quality of protein in terms of the pig's needs. Mark has specific requirements that he meets while feeding his pigs.
We do maize jam, we do pollard, we do fish meal, and we have pig premixes. And also, we depend on the availability, we do soya, we do sunflower. We do get sometimes, occasionally we get milk, raw milk, which helps the piglets to grow. And also sometimes we get breadcrumbs. From the bakeries, they have this the breads that maybe have not carved well, it's not in a good shape. They also we feed the animal because of the yeast and the yeast in the bread. It helps also the pigs to digest.
Well, that interesting story right there takes us to our first break. After the break, of course, we'll be back here in the studio with our expert veterinarian and consultant, Ian Otwona. He's here to speak to us, of course, about the various aspects of getting into pig farming, the do's, the don'ts, the highs and the lows.